On the night of April 14th, 1912, the North Atlantic was calm and silent. The sky was clear, the sea was still, and the massive passenger liner known as the RMS Titanic moved forward with confidence. On board were more than 2,200 passengers and crew, many of them unaware that within a few hours, history would remember this night for one of the most tragic maritime disasters ever recorded. But what many people don't know is that long before the ship disappeared beneath the ocean, a series of desperate wireless messages were being sent into the darkness, hoping that someone, somewhere, would hear them in time. The Titanic was equipped with one of the most advanced wireless communication systems of its time. Operated by wireless operators Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, the Marconi system allowed the ship to send and receive messages across long distances. Throughout the day on April 14th, the operators were extremely busy sending passenger messages to land stations. Wealthy travelers were sending personal telegrams to their families, friends, and business partners. Because of this heavy workload, some important ice warnings from nearby ships were delayed or not given immediate priority. Earlier that day, multiple ships had reported large ice fields directly in Titanic's path. These warnings were received, but the ship continued to move at near full speed. Confidence in the ship's size and strength led many to believe there was no serious danger. That confidence would soon be tested. At 11:40 p.m., Titanic struck an iceberg. The collision did not feel dramatic to many passengers. At 12:15 a.m., the first distress message was sent, using the Marconi wireless system. Operator Jack Phillips transmitted the international distress signal CQD, followed by the ship's position. Shortly after, he began using the newer signal SOS as well. The message was simple but urgent. Titanic was in distress and required immediate assistance. Several ships received the call. The closest ship to respond was the RMS Carpathia, located about 58 miles away. Its captain, Arthur Rostron, immediately ordered the ship to turn at full speed toward Titanic's position. Crew members prepared lifeboats, blankets, and medical supplies. But even at maximum speed, it would take more than 3 hours to arrive. Meanwhile, Titanic's wireless room became a place of constant tension. Messages were sent repeatedly, giving updated positions and requesting urgent help. Other ships responded, but many were too far away. One nearby vessel, the SS Californian, was closer than Carpathia, but its wireless operator had gone to sleep for the night, and the distress calls were never received. As the situation worsened, lifeboats began to lower into the freezing Atlantic. The crew struggled to maintain order as passengers slowly realized the seriousness of the situation. Yet inside the wireless room, Phillips and Bride continued their work. Even as the deck began to tilt and water crept closer, they remained at their stations, sending message after message into the night. Around 1:45 a.m., the distress signals became more urgent. The power supply was becoming unstable, and time was running out. Ships in the area acknowledged the signals, but none were close enough to arrive quickly. The temperature of the ocean was near freezing, making survival in the water almost impossible. At approximately 2 a.m., one of the final messages was transmitted. Reports from survivors suggest the words indicated the ship's condition was worsening rapidly and that immediate assistance was critical. Moments later, the power began to fail. Lights across the ship flickered and went out. At 2:20 a.m., Titanic broke apart and sank beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. By the time Carpathia arrived at 4 a.m., only lifeboats and scattered debris remained. More than 1,500 people had lost their lives. The story of Titanic's final wireless messages is not just about technology. It is a story of duty, courage, and the importance of communication. Jack Phillips continued sending distress calls until the very last moments, knowing that every message increased the chance of rescue for those still on board. The tragedy also led to major changes in maritime safety. After the disaster, international regulations required ships to maintain 24-hour wireless monitoring so that distress calls would never again go unheard. Lifeboat requirements were increased, and better emergency procedures were established. Today, more than a century later, the final messages of Titanic still represent one of the most emotional moments in maritime history. They were not just signals. They were the last voices of a ship calling for help in the darkness. The night was calm. The ocean was silent, but through the wireless signals sent across the Atlantic, the world heard a desperate call that came too late.